It's estimated that humans have been around for millions of years, but in the last couple of 100,000 years, our cognitive capabilities have developed a lot. And so the current version of Homo sapien is a very progressive species. Now, what we have seen is since the Industrial Revolution, the pace of progress has picked up rapidly. Whether we look at technology, we look at other medical advancements, lifestyles, longevity, all of that, we can actually see significant improvements right throughout the human race. Having said that, the question is, are there any developments, especially as they impact the middle class, that have hidden and negative consequences? Whilst overall, the developments are benefiting the human race, I think that there are some hidden costs that people are not realizing. Let's talk about them. Number one, technology. The improvement in technology overall is fantastic, but is it possible perhaps that the over-reliance on technology is also making us weak? As we rely more and more on technology to find the solutions to our most pressing problems, could it possibly also mean that we are using less of our imagination and less of our memory, which is overall resulting in cognitive decline? The second development is convenience. Now, wherever you look, at the press of a button, you can operate your television, you can start your car. There's a lot of conveniences that modern technology has afforded the average human being. One of the negative consequences of having access to so many conveniences is that it is reducing movement and strength. We're now finding that the rates of obesity and general decline in health is rising across the world, with more prevalence of disease everywhere. Even though we've got the medical advances, the reality is most people are going to use those medical advances because their bodies are getting unhealthier and sicker and weaker over a period of time because of these conveniences. Third, the use of subjective truth. Now, New Age spirituality, which is a fairly recent concept in human history, is encouraging people to decide what their own truth is. So every individual is deciding what their own truth is based on their own individual experiences. But one of the inadvertent negative consequences of this is that if you and I had a clash, for example, and I thought that you deserve pain and you thought that I deserve pain, in that situation, whose truth should prevail? Imagine that you want to take over my property and I want to take over your property, and both of us have really good reasons for wanting to acquire each other's property. Whose truth should prevail? So the problem with having subjective truth is when there is conflict between two individuals, it is very difficult to decide whose truth should prevail. And as we have progressed as a society, we've done away with the objective universal truth that used to be the abiding moral standard for human beings everywhere. And so now, because of this whole concept of subjective truth, there is going to be more and more conflict, and we're already starting to see that. The fourth development that we are starting to experience as a consequence of all this progress is more security. Well, now we have more and more security through our employment. In many cases, you can go into work, you can trade your time in, and you get a consistent and predictable salary. However, the question is it resulting in less initiative and less enterprise? Is it possible perhaps that only a small percentage of human beings are now innovating and disrupting and creating and inventing and discovering, whilst the vast majority are seeking security, and as a consequence, overall, the rate of innovation is starting to drop? And the fifth one is that as there is more and more development that's happening in the human race, there is more access to consumerism and entertainment. What is the problem with that? Well, as we have more and more access to consumerism and entertainment, it is making us mentally weaker. It is making us more addicted, and it is resulting in less conscious choices. The reason I'm doing this video is just to explain that not every development that is taking place in the world right now is going to be good for us as human beings. Now, it's fantastic that those developments are happening, but we have to be mindful that we do not allow these developments to make us weaker, to make us more dependent, to make us less self-sufficient. And so for us, it's just about understanding that every time there is a development that happens at a technological level or an economic level, we as human beings still need to make sure that we are resourceful, we are strong, and we are capable, and we're not allowing these technologies and these modern conveniences to make us weak.